Hi, Sandy.
Good morning, Mr. Martin.
Anything new?
Everything is quiet so far. Mr. Blair is in his office.
Oh, good. I'll be with him in a few minutes. Morning, Larry.
Well, the late Bradley Martin. Did you have a nice long sleep?
You better be kidding, chum. I just cleaned up that Crenshaw matter.
You wrapped that already?
Yeah, real quickie. In just 24 hours, I made a lady happy, unhappy, and happy again.
What happened?
Well, her diamond necklace hadn't really been stolen. Just mislaid. I found it. That made Mrs. Crenshaw very happy.
No doubt.
Then I discovered that it wasn't worth $50,000 at all. Just an excellent imitation.
And that made her very unhappy.
Yeah, I figure she'd been cheated by the jewelers, but she hadn't. Mr. Crenshaw had made the substitution. He borrowed the real diamonds to use as security in some deal. Finished with them and brought them back.
And they all lived happily ever after.
Including us.
Good. I wish they could all be as easy as this.
Yeah.
Yes, Sandy?
Mr. and Mrs. James Andrews are here to see you and Mr. Martin. They don't have an appointment, Mr. Blair, but they're very anxious to see you. It's a matter of life and death.
All right. Send them in.
Why does it always have to be a matter of life and death? Come in.
Mr. Blair?
I'm Bradley Martin. This is my partner, Larry Blair.
How are you?
How do you do?
Won't you sit down?
Now, what can we do for you?
Our son, Christopher Andrews, is accused of murder.
He didn't do it. He couldn't. Christopher couldn't do a thing like that, ever.
Charlotte? Now, honey, we have to tell these gentlemen the facts.
Well, let's get one fact anyway, Mr. Andrews. Just where is your son now?
He's in jail.
Uh-huh. And who or whom is he accused of killing?
A man named Preston Wells.
Well, I read something about that in the paper last week. Preston Wells. Prominent attorney, wasn't he?
Killed in his apartment on Sutton Place?
Yes, that's right.
As I recall, didn't your son confess?
Chris was there all right at Mr. Preston's apartment, but he couldn't have killed him.
We only know what Chris and the police have told us. Someone called them and said there'd been a murder in the Preston apartment. When they got there to investigate.
Mr. Andrews, I think that this is more of a case for a good attorney than for us.
Chris refuses to be defended.
Was there any relationship between your son and Mr. Wells?
Yes, Chris was going to marry Preston's sister, Diana.
I know my son, Mr. Martin. He couldn't have done a thing like this. He wouldn't. He just confessed because he's afraid of something or somebody.
Now, suppose we did take this case and we found your son guilty.
You won't, Mr. Blair. Not if you find the truth.
I don't care if my parents did hire you. They're just thinking what they want to think. I killed him. Can't you understand that? I signed a confession.
We know, but we've got a job to do and we have to ask you some questions.
All right. Go ahead.
Now, let's say that you did kill Preston Wells. Why?
We had an argument.
About what?
What difference does it make?
What time did you kill him?
I don't know. About 9:30.
You phoned the police?
You didn't phone until 10 o'clock. Why'd you wait so long?
How do I know?
Chris, you love Diana Wells.
Look, don't drag Diana into this. Shouldn't have a thing to do with it. Can't you understand that?
All right, Chris. We'll see you later.
Oh, forget it.
We don't get paid to forget. Pretty mixed up, isn't he?
Yeah. Except when he's trying to keep us away from that girl.
Yeah, pretty firm about that.
Mm-hmm. Listen, as long as we're here, we might as well check homicide.
Okay, and I'll run over to the newspaper morgue and make a check.
All right. Mike, me boy, how are you?
Larry, how are you?
I'm fine.
What's in your mind?
Are you on the Preston Wells case?
On it. What's to be on? It's on ice.
That's merely a matter of personal opinion. How about let me take a look at the file?
Okay. Always like to cooperate with the FBI.
Now, Sergeant, you know that Brad and I aren't with the FBI anymore?
Yeah. Why don't you two guys get smart? Get off this penny ante private eye kick. Go back with Uncle Sam.
It might not be as penny ante as you think it is. Let's see the files.
$9:50 p.m. Phone call reporting murder in Wells' apartment. 10 o'clock. Officers arrive at apartment. Christopher Andrews, alone with victim, still holding gun, confesses immediately.
Panicked.
Only 2 sets of prints on the gun. Those of Wells, those of the boys. It was Wells' gun.
The murderer could have worn gloves, you know.
Yeah, well, how about a motive? Listen. Victim's sister, Diana Wells, arrives at scene before detectives leave. Questioned, admits Preston Wells had refused permission for Andrews to marry her.
Purely circumstantial evidence, that's all.
Well, that's enough. You know, like they say in those detective movies, it's an open and shut case.
What they got in there in a time element?
Here it is, coroner. Coroner reports victim has been dead approximately 2 hours.
2 hours? Ah, that ought to do it, Sergeant. Thank you.
That ought to do it, Mr. Blair. Why that look on your face?
Nothing.
Well, there's nothing in the papers his folks didn't tell us. What about homicide?
Well, they've got something that punches another hole in the boy's confession.
Oh?
You remember he said that he killed Wells around 9:30?
Yeah, and the police were called about 10.
That's right. Now, the coroner's report had him dead 2 hours by the time they got there. Brad, somebody killed Wells around 8 o'clock.
His sister, for instance?
Who knows? What do you think?
I think I ought to pay the little lady a visit. How about meeting me outside her place in about an hour?
All right. Yes?
Mr. Staley would like to see you.
Wells' law partner?
George Staley?
Yes, sir.
Send him in.
Mr. Staley?
Yes.
I'm Brad Martin.
Glad to meet you.
Larry Blair.
How are you?
Fine, thanks. Sit down.
Thank you. I expect that you're surprised that I came here to see you.
Well, it's a switch anyway.
We usually have to go out and dig for information.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Andrews told me he'd hired you.
I see.
He also asked me to take the case. From the legal end, of course.
You're going to represent Chris?
I'm afraid not, Mr. Martin. It wouldn't seem right, would it? For a lawyer to represent a man who is accused of killing his partner.
You say accused, Mr. Staley. Don't you think he did it?
Like you, Mr. Blair. A long time ago, I learned the difference between facts and circumstantial evidence. No, I'd be the last one to point a finger.
I take it then you're here to suggest another suspect?
One of your former clients, for instance?
No. Our practice dealt with corporations. Maritime and international law. We never represented criminals as such.
Mr. Staley, what about Diana Wells?
But she idolized her brother. He supported her, educated her abroad. She is his sole heir, if that's what you're getting at.
No. What we mean is, what about Wells not agreeing to her marrying Chris Andrews?
Hardly a reason for the boy to shoot him, would you say?
No, but a pretty good reason for her to do it, especially if he threatened to cut her off.
I doubt if she's capable of it.
Well, Mr. Staley, you came here for some reason. Did you have something on your mind?
Very much so. The Andrews don't think their son killed Preston. I don't think Diana did.
Somebody did.
And that's exactly why I'm here. I want to see that somebody brought to justice. I want to help. Either by increasing your fees so that you'll continue to follow through, or by posting a reward for information leading to his or her arrest and conviction.
Well, that's very thoughtful.
After all, Preston was my partner and my friend.
I've already told the police everything I know.
I'm not the police, Miss Wells. My job is to prove, if I can, that Chris didn't kill your brother.
Didn't kill Preston? Well, then why did he confess?
I was about to ask you that question.
Oh, I can't imagine.
I can. Miss Wells, isn't it true that your brother refused to let you marry Chris?
Well, yes. He didn't feel that Chris was doing well enough financially, I mean. But he'd about changed his mind.
Oh? What makes you think so?
Well, we had an appointment to see him and talk to him that night. I'd seen Preston earlier in the evening, and well, he practically told me that he wouldn't object any longer.
You saw your brother earlier?
Yes, I stopped by before 7.
Were you still with him at 8?
No. Why do you ask that?
Because your brother was killed at about 8 o'clock.
You think I killed him?
Chris does.
I left before 7. I was meeting some friends for dinner at Longshamp's at exactly 7 o'clock. You can ask them. You can ask the head waiter.
All right, Diana. I believe you.
That still doesn't help Chris.
No. And we're doing a great job of finding people who aren't guilty. Now we got to find somebody who is. But we'll keep trying. Oh, do you have a key to your brother's apartment?
Well, yes, but...
I'd like to borrow it. Just for a few hours. Thank you.
Boy, snap out of it. What happened?
I don't know. Somebody must have been hiding behind the car and slugged me with a sledgehammer.
Well, whoever it was, he didn't want your money.
No, it wasn't a stick-up.
Did you see the girl?
Yeah.
I wonder what this guy could have wanted.
Well, it wasn't this anyway.
What's the key for?
Wells' apartment. I borrowed it from Diana.
What's with her?
A dead end. Maybe that'll open something.
His apartment, anyway.
Yeah.
Move over, Junior. I'll drive.
Bachelor's diggings?
Rich bachelor's diggings. I'll check in here.
Got a bedroom in there, Larry?
With antique furniture yet. Take a look upstairs when you get a chance.
Sure thing.
You all right?
Yeah, I'm okay. Out those doors. Any luck?
No. No, he had a two-tone green sedan, no license plates in the rear.
38 slug. This ought to make good evidence.
Good thing he was a lousy shot.
Good thing I saw the revolver. I'd have been a dead duck. I was just starting to thumb through this. Mr. Wells was killed,
January 10th.
January 10th, 10 p.m., Diana and Chris.
Well, that's one appointment he didn't keep. At least it shows that the kid wasn't due till 2 hours after he was killed.
January 11th. Hey, take a look at this.
Noon, luncheon at the club. 2:30, report to the FBI. Report what to the FBI?
Maybe the Bureau would know. All I know is I just act like a target.
Go ahead, Chief. Give it to him.
Well, that's strange.
Your girl told me you were up here.
Gotta keep in trim, you know. What is this? Business or pleasure?
Well, it's a combination. Preston Wells. Does that name mean anything to you?
Rings a bell. Fill me in.
Prominent attorney. Killed in his Sutton Place apartment last week. Suspect confessed.
Oh, yeah, we got a routine report on it. Nothing for us, though.
Well, would you mind checking your files? You see, he had an appointment to report to the FBI the day after he was killed.
Okay. Ellis here. Scan the files for Preston Wells. W-E-L-L-S. Yeah, call me right back. Looks like you could use a little work out yourself.
Oh, we get plenty.
What, dodging bill collectors?
Oh, Chief, that's prosperity, boy.
How's Brad?
Oh, fine. You know Brad, when he's not working, why, he's...
Hello, Ellis here. Oh. How about the crossfire? George Staley. Right.
What about Staley?
Well, he is, or was, Wells' law partner.
Yes, I know. We've talked to him.
Staley, not Wells, is also a registered agent for an Iron Curtain Country. Handles their contracts.
And maybe other things.
Could be. But he is a registered agent. It's all very legal, Larry.
Murder isn't.
Look, suppose I assign an agent with you and Brad.
Oh, no, thanks. As it is, two's a crowd.
Well, if you need any help.
I'll remember. Thanks a lot, Chief.
Right, boy.
You don't realize what you're asking me to do.
We do. We also realize it isn't easy.
I always thought that love was a 50-50 proposition.
What do you mean by that?
Well, Chris stuck his neck way out for you. Maybe you don't feel the same about him.
Wait. Hello, George. This is Diana Wells. I called your home and they said you were working late.
Yes, a few loose ends to tie up. Anything I can do for you, Diana?
Oh, I'm at Preston's apartment moving his personal effects. Oh, no. There's nothing you can do to help. Thank you. It's just that I ran across an envelope here, one of your firm envelopes that was marked FBI confidential. And I didn't know whether to mail it or take it over myself.
Oh, where was the envelope, dear? In his dresser. Oh. Yes, it's very important. Look, Diana, I was just about to leave. I'll drop by and pick it up. Oh, no, it's no trouble at all. It's something Preston and I were working on. I'll just make sure it gets to the FBI. Goodbye, dear.
Shall I seal it?
Yes, seal it.
Just leave it there on the desk. Now, take it easy, Diana.
Okay, now. I know exactly what to do.
Yes?
Diana, George Staley.
Come on up, George.
Let's go.
Come in.
Diana,
I'll be with you in a minute.
how are you feeling, dear?
Oh, not bad, considering.
You have the envelope?
On the desk, George.
It's sealed.
Yes. I sealed it
You sealed it.
after I read it. It's very interesting.
Too interesting. I'm sorry you read it, Diana. That won't do you any good.
Let me alone.
If your brother had left me alone, it wouldn't have happened. He'd still be alive.
Drop that gun. Now kick it over here. What wouldn't have happened, Mr. Staley?
Curiosity, Mr. Blair, killed the cat.
And Mr. Wells?
And you.
I'll take that gun. In my business, Mr. Blair, I always have insurance.
Had insurance. You all right?
Yep.
38. Has attempted murder written all over it. Diana. You can unlock the door now. It's me, Brad.
I heard a shot.
No harm done.
You'll be all right till the police come.
Brad, keep your eye on him. I'll phone in a report. Oh, Diana. Hello, Mrs. Andrews. This is Lawrence Blair of Personal Report Incorporated. Well, I'm very happy to tell you that we found your son innocent, and you can go down to the jail and pick him up any time. Yes, we'll arrange to have him released immediately. And if you hurry, you just might get there before Miss Wells does. Goodbye. This is a fine partnership. I only pick up half the fees, and you get all the kisses.
It's the way the ball bounces.
Take a look.
Now, what are you going to use for evidence?
Certainly not those blank sheets of paper.
And by the way, Mr. Staley, what are you going to do about that reward that you promised for finding the killer of Mr. Wells?